Hello there, it's your pals from Beyond the Bench barging in to tell you about the newest creation from our sponsor, Knack Bags. If you're looking for a stylish new bag to accompany you for every trip to the beach, water park, mountain climb, or DMV visit, the Knack Sling Bag is the one you need.
Just like its bigger siblings, the Knack Sling Bag is built tough, impossibly stylish, and endlessly expandable for all your storage needs, but a third the weight and half the price. It's also available in 3 different colors, so you can look your best without getting sand in unpleasant places.
Just follow the link in the description to get yours today with free shipping on every order.
If you get your Knack Sling Bag, don't forget to post a picture of it on social media and tag us at Beyond the Bench 1 so we can see the amazing things you do with it.
Thank you to our friends at Knack Bags for sponsoring this episode. This is Beyond the Bench with Nick Morgasen and Nick Fodera. A look at sports and pop culture from beyond common sense. The show that constantly goes off the rails and might never get back on. When you don't belong, you're a bench warmer. On this show, there's no riding the bench. This is Beyond the Bench on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you, and wherever you may be, and wherever you may be listening.
It's time for Beyond the Bench. So, yeah, this is, there's a lot of stuff we need to get into. That's Nick Morgasen. I'm Nick Fodera. And this episode, as always, is brought to you by our friends at Knack Bags. Just make sure you go to knackbags.com to get your amazing, sleek, and wonderful Knack Bag and your Knack Sling Bag. And when you use the offer code below, you can get free shipping on every single order. And who doesn't want that?
Yeah, who wouldn't want that? And by the way, follow the show on social media, on Twitter, Beyond the Bench 1. Let's get this out of the way just so we can get through it. Facebook, Beyond the Bench 1. Instagram, Beyond the Bench 1. Follow Empty the Bench Podcast Network at ETB Network across all social media platforms, including TikTok as well. So we have a lot to get into. This is going to be a good show. Actually, when I looked at these topics, Nick, there was a lot of funny, a lot of controversial, some sad, but we'll get all the sad and the controversial out of the way so we can have some fun like for the rest of the show. But we got to start in a place you and I can relate to a lot growing up. We've heard this guy in the broadcasting world for a very long time.
Yeah, he's referring to, of course, the legendary Dodgers broadcaster, Vin Scully, passed away on Tuesday at the age of 94. Now, for those of you who don't watch this show and maybe don't follow sports, how is it that I should describe Vin Scully to you?
Iconic.
Vin Scully, yes, is an icon, but he is, if he was a friendly uncle to 8 million people, he was the uncle that everybody liked. And the amazing thing about Vin Scully is he is literally the best to ever do it, because he was the radio and TV voice for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Well, back he was calling games for them when they were still in Brooklyn, and for 67 years. And his tone, his style, is often imitated, but they could never quite get the tenor of what Vin was doing.
His call. I mean, and being in broadcasting like I was, getting to call baseball games, calling basketball games, calling a lot of different things. Baseball, and people don't realize this, baseball is probably one of the toughest games to call on TV and radio.
Because there's a lot of dead air, and there's this constant push and pull between, do I say something or do I let the crowd tell the story?
Well,
am I just anecdoting myself to death, or am I actually going to just talk?
I mean, also, you have to remember, you have 3 to 4 hour broadcasts going on in baseball. You have to be able to tell stories sometimes for innings at a time when you have a 10-0 game, or if you have a 2-1 game, you have to fill time when things are going on. It is one of the toughest sports to call, and Vin Scully, like you said, is probably one of the best to ever do it in baseball. And I know people are going to throw out all these different names. I don't care. Vin Scully is the best one to ever do it in the game of baseball. Look at the history of some of the calls. And we weren't alive for a lot of these, but Gibson. Kirk Gibson.
Gibson's 1988 home run. When Hank Aaron hit 714 home runs. Don Larson's perfect game in 1956. I mentioned that in my ETB Sports Minute that went up a couple of days ago. But
Right.
but even then, I was constrained by a minute. I could have easily gone for another 10. Just speaking about even the no hitters, the perfect games, and the legendary players. He was the soundtrack to baseball, and what is. And this is coming from a Yankee fan, by the way. Grew up
both Yankee fans.
We never actually watched. I mean, we never actually got to hear Vin call a game.
Well,
again, you heard him sometimes, but a lot of my exposure to him was other people talking about him, and you would hear clips of him, and then you would go back and go onto YouTube and listen to him talk, and it was just absurd about how the modern sportscaster, and you can attest to this because you have the same problems with it that I do, that you just have the compulsive need to just anecdote people to death, just motor mouth, just never shut up.
Well, I'll tell you, and even in basketball, which is a fast game, you think in your own mind, and I had to learn this over the couple of years that I called games, you can't talk every second of the broadcast.
You have to let it play out.
Right. You can't just motor mouth like you just said. You have to watch the game flow.
Yeah, you have to know the pace of the game, and you have to know when to talk and when not to talk. And when not to talk is in some cases a lot more important than knowing when to say something and even what to say. Because what do you say? Because are you narrating everything in a step-by-step process, or are you just giving the audience the bare minimum of what they need to know? But Vin had his skill came in knowing exactly what to say, when to say it, and when to let the crowd noise tell the story.
And it's like you said, where you could listen to Vin, excuse me. And it sounded like he was telling a story.
Yeah, he was telling a story.
And I'm talking about, like, you could just sit there for 9 innings and you wouldn't be bored. Because he would tell you a story from like 30 years ago sometimes, and you're like, wait a minute, I've never heard that before.
And then never lose track of the game. Never lose track of the game. Never step on a moment. He never lost focus. He wandered, but he always found his way. Because it wasn't necessarily wandering, because wandering implies that you're lost.
Right.
Vin was never lost. He took you on a journey, and then he took you back.
Well, what was so unique, like listening to him set up an at-bat and just, excuse me, take you through the at-bat, and then like when a home run is hit and he gets the proper excitement, not over the top, not too low.
Not screaming his lungs out.
And that's the problem. And I hate to say this with today's announcers, and some people are going to be like, what do you know about announcing? Well, I've done it, so I'm not professionally, but I know how it goes, that a lot of today's baseball announcers are screaming at the top of their lungs when a home run is hit.
Not to be in their defense, but I kind of expect that out of my Homer broadcast, though.
No, but it's a little much.
It's a little much on a national broadcast, and I get that. But if you're doing a broadcast on a station owned by a team,
but wait a minute,
broadcast, you should get really into it.
No, I get that, but at the same time, did you ever hear Vin change his level for the most part? I mean, he went a little bit more excited, but you never heard him change.
He went up. He never shot through the roof.
But I'm saying is he never changed. It all sounded... A good broadcaster keeps themselves even kill, regardless if it's your home team or it's the other team doing something, for the most part.
Yeah. For them, again, that was because you never felt like he was rooting against. You never felt like he was rooting against your home team, because a lot of people, when they do national broadcasts nowadays, I mean, it's the Joe Buck effect, where it meant no matter what team you root for, you think that Joe Buck hates your team. And this is something that even Joe Buck himself is aware of. But Vin had the ability to just act as if you are sitting right next to him and he's telling you what's going on. He's your friend, and he's going to tell you all about baseball.
I hate to say this, and this is a hot take for our home broadcasts, but Michael Kay is a little too over the top on his home run calls.
Which again, I expect that out of a homer, but he at least knows, and he's deployed it more as he's gotten older, to know when not to step on the moment. Because
I'm not talking about stepping on the moment. I can think of other sports where people step on the moments of everybody. I'm not talking about stepping on the moment. I'm talking about if you ever listen,
like your Nick Castellanos situation.
Oh God!
Imagine if Vin had to do that.
Well, first of all, he would never do it, so it wouldn't matter.
He would never do that. So,
but I know that's a hot take, and I'm sure that's going to end up all over social media when this goes out. That I just think Michael Kay is too high and then too low when the opposition does something.
Again, I expect that out of him, though. I'm a Yankee fan. We're both Yankee fans. I expect the guy doing the home broadcast to bleed pinstripes.
No,
I do.
I get that, but I feel like sometimes he really reaches.
If you're doing a national, and you could tell the difference because when he does the alternate broadcast with A-Rod.
Well, he can't because he's on a national broadcast.
But you can tell the difference because he's a lot.
Well, first of all, and just in case people don't know, Nick is referred to the K-Rod cast on ESPN, the alternate broadcast of I think Sunday night. Is it Sunday or Monday night baseball?
Sunday night baseball.
Sunday night baseball, where that's not supposed to be a play-by-play. That's supposed to be, and I don't like it. It's supposed to be Michael and A-Rod at a bar. That's what they want.
Mike, you are on your couch, and Michael Kay and A-Rod are sitting right next to you talking.
And that's not, and he'll come after me, I'm sure, if I make this comment. But Michael Kay is not a sit around and talk guy.
I mean, I like the broadcast. It's just it takes some getting used to for me.
Well, I can't. I know what our agreement is on there. It's A-Rod.
A-Rod, it's like he'll say a couple anecdotes, and then 5 seconds after he's finished talking, you realize, wait. What the fuck did he just say?
And the other problem is,
like,
Mike,
or you'll end up saying to yourself, "What the fuck was that supposed to be about?"
And the other problem is, Michael will accidentally fall into play-by-play mode.
Yeah, he does. He does because it's hard to break yourself of those rhythms.
But all right, but we're getting off the track. My point is, Vin
made it look easy. Like I said in my minute, he made it look easy because. You want to know why baseball was important? All you need to do was hear him talk. He made you care about baseball. He made you think that it was important.
Right. And also, people don't remember this. He also did the NBC Game of the Week back in the 80s.
Yes, he did.
People forget that he did national games. I know he's been doing the Dodger broadcasts forever. You said 67 years, but he called the Hank Aaron home run.
Yeah, that's the reason why he was able to call the home run in the first place.
Because I think that was an NBC Game of the Week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So, and I know people are going to say, well, you're too young to even know that stuff. Hello, we're baseball history people. We know, we look this stuff up.
And you talk about him being Vin being a historian of the game. I mean, he is the history of the game. The history of baseball can be tracked through Vin Scully because the man was able to. He started calling Jackie Robinson and ended with Clayton Kershaw.
Right, I saw that quote going around. He's a walking museum. That's the best way I can think of it.
He was a walking museum. The history of baseball can, like I said, can be traced through Vin Scully because the man has just been everywhere. He's seen everything.
I mean, I hate to say this, but part of baseball died when Vin Scully passed away. Like, in my book.
Baseball died when he retired.
Well, when he retired, and now that he passed away,
now that he passed away, I mean, but But now he's a legend. Now
Well,
he has become.
so let me ask you.
Now he is transcended.
So let me ask you. Vin Scully is gone. Rest in peace. Gone. Who's your iconic guy right now in baseball?
It would probably have to be Joe Buck because he's done.
Well, Joe
Again,
Buck's not doing baseball anymore.
He's not. It probably would have been him, but you know what? I hate to say it because again he's a clown, but he's my clown, John Sterling. I mean, the man. Say what you will about John Sterling, the man may be a clown, but he's our clown. It fits. It fits him. He has. He is the voice that we grew up with.
Right.
Can you dispute that?
I'm not disagreeing. Now, John Sterling, when you think of Vin, you think Dodgers baseball. When you think of Yankee radio or even TV, because people don't remember this either, but John Sterling actually started out as the TV voice of the Yankees.
He did. Phil Rizzuto
And Phil Rizzuto.
and
Right.
Frank Metzer and Bill White.
Right. But people don't remember that.
Yeah.
But people don't remember that Sterling started on TV.
Yeah, he did. And then in '89, he became the radio voice with Kay, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So, but again, he's the closest thing you have because he's been doing this for so long.
I mean, it's going to be weird because I think they reportedly already announced that
he was going. They were thinking about a replacement.
No, I think they reportedly announced who the eventual replacement. It's going to be Brandon Burke.
And that's going to be weird.
That is going to be weird. Don't get me wrong. Now, you have to agree also that John has kind of lost it a little.
The man's 84 years old.
No. And I'm not disagreeing. I like John. I like John Sterling. But he's getting pop-ups mixed up with home runs.
He's always done that.
That is pretty funny.
That's not a bug. That's a feature.
I mean, and let me be clear. Both of them are iconic. Vin, at one point, if I remember correctly, he was doing radio and TV almost at the same time at a certain point, wasn't he?
Which is two completely different disciplines.
I don't remember. Like the first 3 innings were considered to be on radio, and then
the other ones are TV.
It was like very bizarre. Like they wanted him so bad on both sides calling the game. Like.
But again, he's one of a kind, and you know what we can do is, you know what? Just think about the things that he was able to see, and you can't you rue the fact that there is not another, but you must marvel at what he was and what he meant to the sport.
I mean,
you will not find another Vin Scully. But I hope that you can find somebody who had the passion for the game that he did.
I mean, if I had to pick one, I can't remember his name. You will know him. The White Sox play-by-play guy.
Hawkhausen?
Like he's one I think of because of like the passion for the sport.
Because Hawkhausen, like John, is a shameless homer, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No. But I actually like him. That's a stadium I've always wanted to go to. I went to the other side of Chicago, and obviously you know about Harry Carey and the iconic of the Cubs.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody in Chicago, you say a bad word about Harry Carey, they'll run you out of town.
Right. But Hawk, like, I don't mind his homerism because he's kind of funny sometimes when he does it. Like, and then my favorite is Mercy! Like, when someone makes a play. Or my favorite one was the last out of the Mark Burley no-hitter?
Yeah.
Alexei, yes!
But again, homerism has its place in baseball. It does. It has its place in baseball announcing. It has its place in sports announcing.
And by the way, Nick, remember how you said you needed 10 to 15 minutes? Look how much time we've spent on this.
Yeah, but you know what? It matters.
No, it matters. No doubt. We were not going to do an episode without talking about Vin Scully because he is the cream of the crop, the top broadcaster. It's tough to say in sports because you have different sports. And by the way, Vin Scully actually called football games.
Yes, he did. He called the 1980-something NFC Championship game.
And I think he called some college football at one point.
He did that too.
So the man was versatile.
Yeah, so the man was everywhere. But again, we just pay tribute to you. Rest in peace, Mr. Scully.
Yeah. This will be Dodger fans will be in a little bit of mourning for a while. It was all across social media. Everybody was putting out quote tweets off the Dodger tweet that they put out. It was incredible. That's what I'll say.
It really was.
But
moving on.
All right, from a little bit of tribute and sad to now it's time to get Nick riled up. Brittney Griner is sentenced to 9 years in Russian Penal Colony.
Okay, so this one just came down recently, and are you surprised by this? Because I'm not.
I'm not surprised by it. I'm going to say the same thing I said last time. This is a political football statement, like you've said and I've said. Yeah. Now
they're using her as a political prop to advance a look who we've got. You mighty Americans think you're so big.
I'm just going to warn everybody now to make sure everyone gets this. Okay, this is not like being in the U.S. It's not like being in the U.S. You don't get a slap on the wrist for drugs. When you go outside these borders to another country, you are risking your life if you smuggle drugs.
And you've said that multiple times on this show, on this very show. And you know what? Now that she has been set, now you have to pull out the stops to get her out. Now,
well, they were trying. They were trying already, but you knew Russia was not going to play its hand until they put a sentence.
Yeah,
down.
they weren't going to even start negotiating until they actually had a sentence down.
Now, there's some reports coming out that Biden might not do something, might do something. It's a tough spot for President Biden too. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a tough spot, but to be honest with you, you have to do it. It's called diplomacy. Every president should know how to play it.
I agree.
Except the preceding one, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah. But my point is,
again, you can do it, so why aren't you doing it?
We need to look back, though, at the mitigating factor. And I know you don't like 100% when I say it, but she smuggled drugs into a foreign country.
Ultimately, the punishment does not fit the crime, though.
I agree. And I've been talking to friends about this, too. She should have gotten, what you want to give her 30 to 40 days in prison, fine. I would have been okay with that.
Or
but
just kick her out of Russia?
Yeah, but you know Russia doesn't play that way.
But again, they don't play that. But again, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. It doesn't. Just because she did something she wasn't supposed to. I mean,
look at the country they're in.
There are people in this country who get away with a lot worse.
Nick, look at the country we're talking about.
I understand. I get it. But you know what? Now all of that falls away. Now you have to go. Now you have to get her out.
I agree with you. She should have been out after 30 to 40 days. That's what the punishment probably should have been. You knew they were not just going to say, see ya, and we're not going to make her a political prop. You knew that wasn't going to fly.
No, it's especially with Russia invading Ukraine and doing all that. And but again, now the pretense of, well, we need to wait and see what happens. Now you've waited and you've seen what happens, and now you need to do it. Because if you don't do it, you failed her. You betrayed an American citizen.
I hate to say this, and this might be an unpopular opinion. If President Biden doesn't get her out, like, I don't know if you can vote him back.
Well, there's plenty of other things he's done wrong, but that would just be another one.
But I'm not even. Forget the politicking. I'm just talking about that. If you don't do your job as the president, like protecting,
exactly. If you don't protect American citizens, what the fuck are you even in the office for?
Right, and people are going to write comments on this saying you're being political. No, it has nothing to do with politics. Your job as the president is to protect American citizens. That's the job.
Exactly. And if you're not doing that, then what the hell are you doing?
And I don't blame her teammates and all these major celebrities coming out free BG, and people are getting annoyed. And we did a story, I think it was a couple weeks ago, where the Today Show made one of the drummer of Macy Gray turn the shirt around.
Covered that. We covered that. You don't remember?
No, I'm saying I couldn't remember how long ago we did it, but and we thought that was a farce. That was political punditry.
This entire situation is becoming a farce. You know what? I shouldn't even say it's becoming, because it's been a farce for a long time at this point.
Like I said, if Russia wanted to make a point and put her in jail for 30 to 40 days, I would have been okay with that. But then you got to send her home. That's it.
You made a point just holding her here.
Right. How many days has it been now? It's been like close to 200.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And now first of all, let's not be dumb here. And the public who's watching that case when it went down, you really think she wasn't going to get a jail sentence from Russian court?
I mean, you would have hoped not, but look at what she's up against.
My point is, she was going to get sentenced whether she was guilty or not.
Yeah.
In their terms.
Yeah.
Forget our terms, because remember,
because they didn't go to all the trouble of arresting her and then just decide that they're going to let her go with a slap on the wrist.
Remember,
it's not how they operate. It's not how any carceral system operates, whether it's in this country or in theirs.
I mean, this whole thing is a giant circus, and I can't deal with it. But remember, you're on the Russian legal system, not the U.S. legal system. Different story.
And the American legal system has its problems.
Right.
So imagine
and everyone
I don't mean to be callous by laughing, but it's just how are you not pulling out all the stops to get it unless you truly don't care?
And you know what? We talked about this also. She wrote letters to President Biden. We don't know what was in the letters, but
probably just begging, get me out of here. I
want
to see my wife. I miss my wife.
I miss my teammates. I miss being
American president. What American president is not pulling out all the stops to keep one of its own citizens safe?
Right. And I just it looks bad on Biden and the White House. I hate to say it, but and people are going to say we're being.
The more you drag your feet, the worse it does look.
And people were going to say that we're being political. Fuck off. I don't really give a shit. Don't tell me.
It's someone's life we're dealing with here. I mean, come on. These are not abstract concepts here.
This has nothing. Would you agree with me? This has nothing to do with politics.
I mean, it shouldn't.
From our standpoint, I mean,
from our no, we're not criticizing Biden as to use as a political. See, Biden sucks, and no.
That's not what we're saying.
We're not arguing in bad faith.
Right. My point is, he should have stepped up a while ago if he wanted this to be figured out.
A long time ago, if you wanted to actually fix this problem. But
and you know what? And you know what? Putin is going nah. We got one of yours.
Oh yeah. Well, he's getting all the publicity he can out of this.
Right, because that's all he cares about. Why do you think they keep trying to get him out of office?
He gets to stick it to us, and that's all he cares about.
Well, when you're in a communist government, what do you expect?
Well, Russia's not communist.
Well, all right, worse.
But again, I mean, he's getting everything he wants out of this transaction, and then we're not. So, and look, the only thing we can do right now, and I'll say this to wrap up, is just hope that she gets home soon. I hope that the next time we bring up the story is that they've negotiated a release and they're bringing her home.
All I'm going to say is it's going to take a while. But
I wish you weren't right, but you know what? I have a feeling you are, and I hate that.
All right, we'll stay in the weird stories realm. And where do you want to go? I'll give you a choice. Do you want to go to Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, and Tom Brady, or you want Alex Jones?
Oh, that's like picking between my worst children. Let's see. Let's talk about Mr. Alex Jones. Let's take a trip to the flying Oompa Loompa factory.
All right. So after Alex Jones's lawyers accidentally leak years of emails, InfoWars financial documents are revealed in court.
So if you don't know what's going on here, It's really a comedy. It's a comedy of errors worthy of a Coen Brothers movie because it's like it's because he's in court right now because the parents that were of the kids that were killed in Sandy Hook spent years legally pursuing suing him for defamation because he would often say he'd said for years on end that Sandy Hook didn't happen, the kids were all crisis actors,
That it was a farce.
that it didn't happen, it was a hoax.
Right.
And the InfoWars, faithful, the tinfoil hat brigade, basically went after them. And
The assholes. Yeah.
they were basically, sending death threats and threats of physical violence to parents that were grieving their kids being killed in school.
We're talking about a situation which probably stands up there as one of the realest incidents where children were not protected.
Oh yeah, because if they weren't killed, then where the fuck did they go? Well, you know what? I'd like to live in that society. If we're gonna say it didn't happen, if we actually live in that world, I want to live in that world. Okay, nothing happened. None of the terrible school shootings, and all the trauma that people have been inflicted by, and all the loss, and all the horror and bloodshed that these parents have been subjected to. If it's fake, I want to live in that world.
There's evidence. There's physical evidence.
Again, that's Alex Jones, but that's Alex Jones's thing. He's getting you to doubt what your eyes see, what your ears hear.
It's not even just that. It's that he believes the shit that he's saying.
Well, that leads me to my next point because so the Sandy Hook parents decided to band together and spent the better part of a decade pursuing him for defamation. So he's
massive lawsuit.
Finally, a massive lawsuit, and he's finally got his
comeuppance.
Finally got his day in court. So, from what I understand, because this is a very long-winded thing, it's kind of hard to piece everything together. But he was saying that I never perjured myself by saying I said in court that I didn't lie.
What?
And the judge actually supposedly, I don't know if you've seen the video.
I did.
The judge and the prosecuting attorney said to him, "We know you lied because your lawyers on accident sent us your entire text chain.
Oops.
Your entire record, 2 years worth of texts and emails. They have it now because the lawyers gave it to them by mistake." And the look on that man's face.
Well, wait a minute. You're leaving out.
You know what? You needed to hire an artist to capture that.
I mean, you're talking about the artist. What is that saying when you're looking for a criminal? The artist draws a rendering or whatever they say.
Yeah,
I forgot.
You needed somebody to get a rendering of it just to get it on record. The look on his face.
But wait a minute, Nick. You're leaving out the number that was said. So listen to this. Apparently, through InfoWars LLC, at one point he was making $800,000 a day.
And that was basically because that's basically what InfoWars is. It's getting people scared enough so they buy gold and
it's a pyramid scheme.
Gold and snake oil supplements and ammunition and for a war
and powder. Yeah,
it's the home shopping network for nut jobs.
You know what? I used to see commercials and bullshit on radio and TV.
I guarantee you, from the conservative radio arena you came from, I guarantee you a lot of people that were subjects on you, they talk to Alex Jones, but they don't want to admit having talked to Alex.
It's so true.
Believe me, he's closer to the GOP than people thought he was.
He was at January 6th.
Yeah, he was there that day.
People don't remember this. There was a video of him at January 6th marching.
So what this has led to is he's screwed royally because they are going to take him for every single penny
he's bankrupt.
They are literally going to fucking bury him 15 or 20 feet below the ground.
Wait a minute.
And all of a sudden, go ahead. Go ahead.
They're suing him for $150 million.
And that is a hell of a lot.
He doesn't have that.
You know what? He's going to have to pay it anyway.
Well, no, he'll file bankruptcy.
He'll file bankruptcy, but you know what? They're going to get it. Whatever he's got, they're getting. It might not be 150 million, but it's enough to have him shut down.
Well, he fucked himself over, or his lawyer fucked him over.
Well, of course. What good lawyer is actually going to go to Alex Jones and say, "I can actually win this case"? It's like you're getting a bunch of ambulance chasing quacks.
Wait a minute.
Quacks, I should say.
You do know that in the legal system, we've learned this, that even the murderers get lawyers. We know that.
Even the murderers get lawyers, but
I feel bad. I feel bad.
That any respectable attorney's going to say, this is a winnable case.
I feel bad for those free lawyers that they have to give.
For the court-appointed lawyers.
I feel bad, like when they have to try and defend the murderer.
It's like, shit, I have to do this?
And I'm like, is this going to hurt my reputation if I do this?
I could just imagine. But
$150 million. This man is already bankrupt. He lost all his platforms. Let me take you back. Let's see, 7 or 8 years ago. No, go back a decade, even before Sandy Hook. This man was on every platform.
During Obama's first term,
he had radio syndication.
He was everywhere, and even up to 2016, he had the ear of Trump was a big fan of his. So again, he was the heart, soul, and conspiracy-addled brain of the Republican Party. There were a bunch of conspiracy because the conspiracy theorists and misinformation that is so rampant in American politics nowadays, right-wing politics, is largely due to him.
But wait a minute. And this is just from my radio and digital background. This man was on every podcast platform. He was on every radio platform.
And you can't call him a fringe lunatic. He wasn't. He wasn't fringe.
It's debatable, but I know what you mean. But
in the conservative world, that man was not fringe. I'm telling you.
Well, he was a Trump supporter. We know that. But
yeah, he was a Trump supporter, but he wasn't just some random wacko. He had a platform, a big platform.
And that's the scary part that people don't realize. He was on Spotify. He was on iHeart. He was on all the platforms. He was on everything. So like his garbage was being spewed to around the world.
So you know what? And what all this has amounted to, putting the pending legal decision aside, and now all of a sudden, because those texts are now property of not property, but now the legal team has them. Guess who comes a knocking? Well, guess who recently came a knocking?
Well, you're talking about the Sandy Hook?
January 6th Commission has now put in a request, and they're going to receive those texts because there is relevant information, especially pertaining to how close he was to setting up what happened on January 6th. So now there are a couple questions that he needs to answer. So if you didn't think you're fucked before, you're definitely fucked now.
Yeah, because Trump talks to everybody.
It wasn't even just Trump. It was Roger Stone. It was.
Oh, please don't say that name. I had to deal with that asshole too.
Again, but I keep telling you, it's a conga line of nut jobs.
How do you think I felt? How do you think I wanted to?
I feel bad for you.
I wanted to bang my head against the wall every time.
People can't take this shit seriously.
And they kept bringing him into the stupid radio station every other week.
Doesn't he look like the Penguin to you? He looks like a Batman villain.
Yes. And for some reason, he almost, and I'm not going to say the name of the station because I'm tired of saying it anymore, but he almost got a show on the station I was working at. Most people don't know that. I know that because I heard it. Okay.
Oh, God forbid.
I know a lot of things that people don't know. I just don't feel like getting sued by where I worked.
Oh, God.
So
you know what? There is some justice in the world. There is some justice.
But you know what? I can sum it up with one.
Congratulations, dickweeds. Congratulations, dickweed. You played yourself.
I thought that would only.
Congratulations.
I thought that would only get used and empty the bench, but now it's becoming transferable.
No. But that's the wonder of that sound effect. It's so versatile.
So since we decided to foray into the Trump world, excuse me, let's go there. So Sarah pulled some good stories, our intern this week, like she always does.
Yeah.
Donald Trump warned Jared Kushner that Tom Brady was also trying to court Ivanka Trump.
Okay. Can you say that again, but slowly?
Donald Trump warned Jared Kushner that Tom Brady was also trying to court Ivanka Trump.
Every word in that sentence is just an insult.
Wait,
it really is.
I'll give you one better.
That's the problem here, folks, isn't it? That these people are really not qualified to do anything short of running a Dairy Queen, and I wouldn't even hire them to run the local Burger King. Much less give them a post in Washington.
Well, they're used to having it their way, so.
Exactly, and that probably wouldn't even qualify, because even the Burger King regional manager is going, "You guys are idiots." you dummy! I can't deal with you dumb shits.
Wait a minute! You're trying to tell me what to do? You can't do that.
I'm the rich man here, so that doesn't surprise me in the slightest, because Tom Brady's more of a MAGA Republican than people think. He likes to pretend he's not.
Didn't he wear a MAGA hat in a photo?
He hid it. He tried to hide the fact that he had a MAGA hat in his locker.
But wait a minute.
These are the Patriots.
Tom Brady has it so well. He's got a Fox deal to call games after he's done.
Again, you are the winningest quarterback in the world. You are one of the greatest, if not the greatest, football player to ever lace up cleats and throw a football around.
But this is hilarious.
You really need to associate with these fucking losers?
No, he was trying to court her away from Trump. I mean, cheat.
Well, he was trying to. He wanted to have sex with her.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Ivanka Trump looks halfway decent, but that's not the point.
The baggage that comes with, it's just not worth it.
Well, I wouldn't say it's her fault, though.
No, it's not her fault. But again, thank God Tom Brady had better sense.
But he already has a model for a wife. Why does he need to?
Exactly.
I'm confused.
Because it's never enough for these people. I got to have more.
I just don't get it. I mean, the man's worth a lot of money, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. What is going on here?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm reading through this, and it's a bunch of political garbage, and I'm just like, all right, so it just sounds like Tom Brady wants to cheat. Too bad he's got deflated balls. Sorry, I know that's an old joke, but it makes sense.
No, it's okay. That joke is pretty much an antique.
All right, let's move on. Now we'll move into the entertainment sector a little bit. These are stories that we actually like. I will reiterate this again. We don't do Hollywood bullshit on this show.
Hollywood bullshit tends to find us, though.
What I'm saying is we don't look for who's in the next big movie, what the Kardashians did, unless they did something stupid.
Then we'll talk about it.
But I'm not into the whole, what radio does where they have to kiss everybody's ass. I just don't do it. But this one I found hilarious. Naomi Judd cut daughters Ashley and Wynonna out of her $25 million will.
Which is wait a minute. Was it Naomi or is it? Oh, yeah. It was Naomi, right? She's the
yes.
one. Yeah. Yeah, because the Judds.
Yeah, the Judds.
Yeah, because as my parents went through a country curious phase in the early '90s, just like everybody did. Once Achy Breaky Heart came out, all of a sudden everybody thought they were a fucking cowboy. So they, even though I do like some of the stuff that the Judds put out, as I was kind of exposed to it at an early age.
But
when she died, so you're saying she cut Ashley and Wynonna out of the $25 million will?
yep.
I mean, that's a little. I mean, they're successful on their own. So do they really? On one hand, do they really need the money?
It's your own family, though.
But on the other hand, it's like, unless you're donating it to charity, it's your family. Come on.
That's what I mean. Like, and not that I have any experience with it, but I've heard of stories before where families fight over the money that was left over.
Oh yeah, it absolutely rips families apart.
And it's sad.
I've known families that's happened to.
It's sad. It's pathetic. You're fighting over money when you're grieving over someone who died in your family?
Again, but money changes people. You know that.
No, sometimes these incidents are people who have money and they're fighting over money.
Ultimately, I think they'll be fine, the two of them, but it's a little bit, unless you're actually donating that money to a good cause, then it should go to the family.
Here's the wait. So
both of them are not going to be poor by any stretch.
Right, but in a surprising decision, Naomi left her estate and her fortune, which is reported to be around $25 million, which is not nothing.
Which is definitely a lot.
To her husband.
Of course.
And that's it.
So, yeah, I'm thinking that this is going to be a little bit of a sore spot.
Well, actually, so it says someone was able to confirm the existence of the court document, excuse me, which states, quote, "I nominate and appoint my spouse, Larry Strickland, as executor of my estate." Now, I know a little bit of this terminology. So technically, if he wanted to, he could give her daughters money.
He could. So technically, she's leaving him in charge of what happens to the money.
Oh, I didn't even see this part. In the event my spouse ceases or fails to serve, then I nominate and appoint my brother-in-law, Reginald, however you say his name, Strickland, and Daniel Chris Wittar as co-executors. I direct that no bond shall be required of my executor. No bond?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. This is bizarre. You're leaving your own kids out of your will.
Ultimately, it's money. It changes people.
I just don't. I have a problem with this in a lot of ways.
I know everybody. A lot of people do, but you know what? These are problems that they're good. They're. I mean, money does a lot of things, but you know what? You can't take it with you.
Well, right, but at the same time, and people have this issue. Worry about the person who passed away, not the money.
Again, money does weird things to people. It really does.
But you know what? And most families, even the ones who don't have a lot of money left behind, they still fight over the money. It's rich, poor, or indifferent.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And I've heard of all these incidents, like just brothers, sisters, they stop talking for years over wills.
I guess that's money for you. You know,
what?
That's all I can tell you.
I'd rather people would just donate the money if that's what's going to cause, if it's going to cause the fight.
Yeah, I know. But at a certain point, it's just, what can you do? Because money changes people.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but it does. That's the world we live in.
Now, I understand if people need to live off the money, that's a whole different issue. And like you have money left for you depending on what family member you are or who they left it to. But that shouldn't be your first concern.
No, it shouldn't be your first concern.
All right. Let's move on. We'll stay in the music world. And this one's a little more interesting. So, the new Beyonce album just came out. She just put out
excuse my age, but it's called God, this entire segment is just gonna be I don't know what kids are listening to nowadays.
Well, Beyonce's not young.
She's not young, but so that album's called Renaissance, right?
Yes, it's called Renaissance. And already she had to remove an offensive lyric on her album.
And I believe the term was, what was it, spaz or something like that? I apologize.
It was. No, you're right. The word.
I apologize for having to use the term, but
wait a minute. So on the song "Heat," which Beyonce co-wrote with Drake, of all people, and the line goes, and just deal with it because we have to say the line to figure it out. Spazzing on that ass, spaz on that ass.
Okay. God, this sounds like Ben Shapiro reciting Cardi B lyrics.
I'm smarter than everybody else.
Oh, God. So, I don't have any problem with her changing the lyric because... And people saying, "Oh, she's caving to the woke mob by saying it's like everything is always woke this and woke that, and why is everything woke?" And so, no. As somebody, look, spaz. For those of you who don't know, is short for spastic, which is a term that has been used to denigrate, physically handicapped people, of which I am.
Now, before I looked this up beforehand, but I also knew what it meant. It has to do with CP, right?
Yes.
I happen to have known that because I was reading around.
What do you think the clinical name for the disorder is? Spastic diplegia,
which I have heard of before.
But again, that's the reason why that's what that. Now I've never been called a spaz, and when I realized, oh wait, that's I've never. I think I have used the term more than once. Again, I was a kid. I didn't know anything yet.
No, but the term that you hear people use is a lot of kids use it in middle school and high school. Oh, you're spazzing out.
That I can understand though, because it's like, come on.
No, that I get, but people,
much in the same way you wouldn't go up to somebody who's physically disabled like me and call him a cripple.
Well, that's even worse.
That's even worse, but you wouldn't do that, so don't do this.
But
I'm not white knighting here. I'm just saying,
right.
I never went through those kinds of things, but I'm not here to say that it didn't happen, and I'm not going to say, oh, go get over it, because if it happened to you, that sucks.
I mean, I can relate. I can relate.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say I can relate from a learning disability standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, or even if still, I've got this kind of privilege because I might be disabled, but I'm also white, so it kind of the privilege kind of balances out.
But here's the weird thing, and I need to ask a journalism question here about this article, and you know who I go to for the journalism advice.
Your favorite quasi journalist.
Well, you and Tom, because you both got masters in journalism, so
yeah, for all the good that does. Go ahead.
So I notice when something like this happens, they have to go into a full definition describing what the words are that are the bad words. So when we read the article here, it gives you the definition of spaz, and they have to write the whole thing out. We never used to do that in journalism.
I think the fact that we never used to do that, well, in this kind of story, it's warranted, because once you explain the full context of what the word is and what it means and where it comes from, you have to do that, because you need to people to understand why they get offended about it, because it's not just but they're not just picking a random word out of the dictionary to be offended by. But there's a reason why that is.
Now, what is this word? Ableist? That's the word they're using.
Ableist.
Or ableist? They're using that term.
Meaning you're discriminating against disabled people.
Okay, so
Which
a lot of
the word itself is a little clunky, but you know, I am yeah, I get the sentiment though.
because there a lot of people are they're showing a lot of tweets in this article that they're using the word ableist.
I mean, I can't disagree with it because you know, I mean, I applaud Beyonce for at least recognizing that it was a poor choice of words, and you know, you own up the fact that you made a mistake and you work to change it. You know,
Do you remember?
that's what, yeah,
Do you remember when Lizzo had to change her lyric also?
yeah, and she gladly did.
Now we haven't. I don't know what the official word. I know Beyonce said she would, and we said it here. Beyonce will remove the lyric, but was it because she did it? Was it because her record label or did it or made her do it?
I think it's a combination of both, meaning that I think I don't think she thought anything of it until people started talking to her about it on Twitter. And then of course her record company came calling. It's like, I think you better change this.
And by the way, Spotify announced that Renaissance is the most streamed album in a single day by a female artist in 2022.
So again, this is a hit album for her. So you know what? I applaud, you know, at least making the effort to try and to try and be better. Because you know what? There's such there's a discomforting kind of pattern of people when they're called out for saying, when you call them out for something, they'll just double down and complain that they're being canceled.
Now,
But it's not. I don't think it's that, because I think they went a lot easier on Beyonce because I think they knew she was going. They knew she was going to change it.
I guess, but I was going to say, as a comparison, would you say spaz and the N word? Would you say that you have to treat them the same way if they were in music? Because you hear the N word in music and rap music all the time.
No. But again, I because one has been used for centuries to denigrate and destroy black people.
But why is that? Why are rappers and music allowed to get away with that?
Because it's reclaiming it. I mean, if you had a movement of disabled people saying, you know, we're going to take back spaz, that would be different. But
Which you'll never hear, by the way. You're never going to hear that.
Which you'll never hear that. But you know what? It again, context matters. The context of the word matters, and the intent behind the word matters.
It's a good point.
And she understood that, and that's why she changed it. Because again, what was offensive 10 years ago, or what was not offensive 10 years ago, is now offensive. Things change. It's just that what was funny then, or what was acceptable then, is not acceptable now. The only reason why it's happened on such an accelerated timeline because of social media, because you're hearing from people, actual people that have lives and feelings that say, you know what, maybe that's not cool. Maybe it's not cool to do those things. Much in the same way that you know, people decided in the 60s and 70s that blackface wasn't funny anymore.
Well, and we'll get to a story in a second about discrimination because we had another incident with children. But this, I think she's doing the right thing. She's removing the lyric just to be safe, and
yeah, it costs her nothing. It costs her nothing.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't cost her much considering who she is. It doesn't cost her much to just say you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to hurt anybody.
Well, it's like making a radio edit. If you think about it, what they're about to do anyway, they're just going to remove the word, and
yeah,
that's essentially what. Because a lot of times, and just to go behind the curtain of that, when I used to do college radio for music, you had radio edits because a lot of times the original versions had curse words in it, so you couldn't play them.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, and we'll move on. And this story, this next one, mom accuses Chuck E. Cheese mouse of racial discrimination for ignoring kids' high five. Now, I think we did a story, whether it was a couple weeks ago, on Sesame Place, and
yeah, you and Kyle talked about that.
We talked about that, and Kyle, who hosts the Her Show on our network, did a Hirsch's thoughts. Go check that out on the whole Sesame Place situation. Got a lot of views, by the way. And he broke it down in such a way. He got the parents' quote and everything. Now, this situation. Now, I don't understand the people in the suits. I'll never understand that. Why in the hell would you... What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Why in the hell would you ignore a little kid?
I don't know why. I mean, especially if was the guy high fiving was the guy in the suit, whoever it was, high fiving all the white kids and ignoring everybody else.
Let me see here. So, mother in New Jersey has some major beef with Chuck E. Cheese, accusing the popular kids mascot of racial discrimination for shamefully ignoring a high five attempt. I'm looking at the video for a second, and the little girl is jumping up and down, and she goes for a high five, and the guy in the Chuck E. Cheese who just basically like looks around and doesn't do anything.
So you know what? This is why you use the animatronics.
I thought Chuck E. Cheese was dead a decade ago.
Yeah, I thought that they filed for bankruptcy years ago.
But it doesn't look good. You just had an incident in Philadelphia at Sesame Place where Rosita, whoever was in the Rosita costume, avoided two little black girls. Okay,
and that don't look good. That don't look good no matter which way you slice it.
And the worst part in the Rosita case, you see the person go and shake her head, or whoever's in the costume.
And that looks bad. I'm sorry, but that looks bad.
And they tried to make an excuse saying that it had to do with holding a child. Stop! Don't make that. That's a horrible excuse to make.
It is a horrible excuse to make. But there's nothing. But you know what? I mean, this is why, and it's not about people. It's not about people trying to. It's not about people causing a fuss when they shouldn't. I mean, when you do that to kids, I mean, come on. It's one of the lessons that we should learn about society. It's like, why are you being a dick to kids?
Well, wait a minute. You'll love this one. So,
I understand kids can be dicks back, but you know what?
But wait, that's
bad adulting more than anything else.
It gets better. What's not clear is whether or not the person inside the costume could actually see the little girl.
Well,
really?
That's different.
What? That's bullshit. What do you mean you can't see who you're looking through in the costume?
God.
That's the excuse you're going to use?
I guess, you know what? You'll I don't know if you're making an excuse or whatever it is. It's just you have to at least make it right to those kids. You have to at least do something.
And you know what was even worse in the original incident, Sesame Place? Rosita is a Latina character.
So yeah, if the Latina character gets caught going when the black kids want to hug, I mean, was it black kids that she was accused of?
Two little black girls. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
What is going on in our society? You're ignoring kids? That's what do they get off on that?
Because people, you know what? Sometimes people are just dicks.
Okay, then they should have been fired when this whole thing went viral.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know if they were fired. Who knows? But Sesame Place came out basically to the defense of the person for the Rosita costume. And I'm like, are you kidding? Oh, we'll just do sensitivity training. Why does everyone say sensitivity training? That doesn't solve everything.
I mean, maybe it could do some good, but I don't know. Oh shit! Wait, there is breaking news.
What?
There is a verdict in the Alex Jones defamation trial.
Well, as we're taping this, okay, what do you got?
As we're recording this, so we'll go back. We'll just mention it as they go. But let's move on until then. Okay.
All right. So let's move on. I'll keep it there, and then we'll go to some fun stuff. But we were debating certain things here. Nancy Pelosi visits Taiwan, angering China, which warns she's playing with fire.
Political footballs, ladies and gentlemen. They're in Russia and they're in Taiwan, and this is okay. Do you really want to? I mean, I'm not a fan of China either, but do you really want to be pissing them off too?
Congratulations, dickweeds.
I grant you that this is all political theater, but I mean, come on.
And wait a minute, Biden and the White House came out and said we're thinking she probably shouldn't do it.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi, believe me, Nancy Pelosi really should have retired about 5 years ago. So
can Nancy Pelosi worry about the insider trading bullshit?
Yeah, the fact that your husband has it's stock in NVIDIA, I think.
Well, basically, she helped the government make a decision based off something they were invested in.
But the semiconductor chips,
right? And her husband. That's it.
Slap on the wrist. But again, all this shit is just giving ammunition to the Republicans. It's just giving them, see, they're the ones that are crooked, not us. And you don't want to give that. You don't want to give them that.
First of all, let me be very clear. Both sides are crooked. Both sides.
One side is more crooked than the other.
No, but that's not my point. My point is both sides are crooked. They both have issues. Okay? I hate politics, and I worked in it for 4 years. Okay? Both sides can't. It's like a game of ring around the rosy, but they don't catch whoever's on there.
God.
Now, I've never liked Pelosi. I
don't either. I mean, there was a time when she was a good politician, but it was not my time.
But now,
the woman is just, she's gone past trying to do. It's like you've gone past helpful, and it's like, no, now you're just annoying.
It's like really annoying because she thinks she's the genius, and she thinks everything she does is right.
You think she's a genius? It's that you mean well. It's like, I understand you mean well, but this shit really isn't helping.
Or throw him in there with the asshole from New York, Schumer.
Which asshole? You're gonna have to be more
Schumer.
Well,
did I tell you where the new offices was for the radio station when I moved? Was pretty much a walk over to his office in the city.
Of course.
And I used to see him out on the street from where I was doing the shows.
You ever see him get heckled?
Well, he was doing press conferences right out in front of that building.
Oh God!
I'm not even kidding. Like when I was working with Kyle there, like we jokingly said, "Should we send somebody down and get a word from Schumer?" We jokingly and like, no, don't do that. I'm like, I was kidding.
Oh God! All right, moving on.
All right. Let's do some fun stories. Okay. Now this one I just found hilarious. Airport fined a traveler $1,874 over 2 McMuffins discovered in their luggage.
This is kind of stupid. Because first of all, what the hell are you doing eating two straight McMuffins that early in the morning? I mean, you're going to be hugging the toilet when you get back. You're basically daring. It's like basically you're daring your call. You ain't shit. Oh, yeah?
But why are you declaring? It says here a passenger was fined the $1,874 to declare breakfast sandwiches in their luggage.
Oh, yeah, this is my McMuffin and this is my other McMuffin.
You can't make this up.
This one's named Roscoe and the other one is the other one is named Roy. Say hello, fellas.
Hi, Mr. Gruden.
Oh, now the breakfast sandwiches are talking to him.
It says, well, listen to this. The fine was part of an Australian initiative to prevent an outbreak of foot and mouth disease.
Which, I mean, yeah.
By the way, declaring the sandwiches, hello, foot, put in mouth.
But for God's sake, make him throw it out. Seriously, you can't get a breakfast sandwich on the flight up.
How about just
You can get a better breakfast sandwich once you go through security?
How about just eat them?
Yeah. Okay. One for when I get to the hotel, and the other one when I'm shitting my brains out.
All I can say is, you can't make this up. First of all,
do not send that guy to an IHOP because he's putting a stack of pancakes in his luggage.
But why are you being fined almost $1,900?
I guess for the insult of the cleanup crew having to give it to him, having to take it from him.
So it says a handful of breakfast sandwiches cost one traveler more than their flight.
That's a little bit of a dick move.
So it says, and this is funny too. Agricultural Minister Murray Watt. Now that's a name. Said the food was confiscated, inspected, and destroyed.
And congratulations, everybody wasted their time. So what did we learn from this experience?
Congratulations, dickweeds.
That's what we learned. That's what we learned.
But that's hilarious. You got charged probably 5 or 6 times your flight, I'm taking a guess.
For 2 chicken sandwich, for not even a chicken sandwich.
McMuffins.
For a McMuffin.
I want to know if McDonald's.
I really hope it. I mean, does anybody really like McMuffins that much to risk $1,800 being added to your already astronomical cost of an airplane ticket?
So it says CNN's report mentioned that experts have estimated that an outbreak in Australia could cost its economy $80 billion. On July 22nd, the Nation instituted, we're talking about Australia, a penalty for travelers who fail to declare dairy and meat products.
Oh God!
First of all,
I guess because it was from McDonald's, they just couldn't handle that.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, not loving it. Can you? Oh God, that would be. Do you see Australia doing that now as like a reverse campaign slogan to not carry food?
You'll hate it.
But it says the outbreak also prompted the Australian government to announce a $9.8 million biosecurity initiative that include that includes detector dogs and extra sanitation at airports.
Just in case somebody's smuggling an order of hash browns up his head.
Wait, does that mean the dog gets an extra snack if they find it?
Oh God! Abandoned subject.
God. By the way, I'll ask this before we move on. What type of breakfast do you usually get from McDonald's?
Usually, I usually don't get breakfast from McDonald's as much as I used to. But
I don't either. But
when I do, it's usually a McGriddle.
I'm a hash browns and I usually get like.
When I was a kid, I would always get the hotcakes and sausage, even though I really didn't. You couldn't if you did not eat those pancakes within 2 to 5 minutes of getting them.
It's cold.
Turn to rubber.
Yeah, and I liked hash browns, and I this is weird. I still do this today. I'll get like 2 hash browns and 2 biscuits, plain. It's weird because they always say to me at the window, "Do you want jelly with that?" No. I'm like, leave me alone.
Where did the jelly come from?
Yeah, really. But all right.
Oh God.
All right. Let's. We have a few more stories left. Let's go to JoJo Siwa and Kansas Cameron Bure. Now, when I told this to Nick, like him and I started laughing about this partially. So there was an incident prior to this exact story that apparently JoJo Siwa said that Kansas Cameron Bure is like the worst celebrity to talk to or something.
Because she was rude or something like that.
Now, we don't have proof 100% of it. Apparently, and you'll appreciate this. It had to do apparently with like the Full House like premiere or something.
Yeah.
That JoJo Siwa was
that she went to the Fuller House premiere and then I think she asked to shake her hand or something.
Take a picture.
Oh, take a picture and she wouldn't do it.
She basically said, no, try me later or something. Or it said something else. I don't know. was a little snobby. But
It's a little snobby. It's a little snobby, but again, I think we expect celebrities to just automatically be okay with selfies when.
well, no,
I mean-
that I agree with them on. Selfies are a pain in the ass. But we're starting to learn that some people on the Fuller House and Full House staff were not exactly the most nicest people that we thought they were.
I mean, nobody had a bad word to say about Bob Saget. I'll tell you that.
No, Bob Saget. Well, the only thing people got on him was for dirty comedy, but that was really funny.
But I mean that's his bread. That was his bread and butter. So what are you
Right.
gonna do?
No, yeah.
What happened? What the funny part about this story is her mother chimed in.
Yeah, so I was saying to Nick before we started taping this episode was usually kids that our parents say, go fight your own battles and try to get out of when you do dumb shit. I'm sure both of us have been there. But when your mother gets involved and starts saying bad things about a celebrity that has a following that you're fighting with, it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. I mean, I would imagine that JoJo Siwa has a lot more fans of a lot more younger fans than Candace Cameron Bure does. I could be wrong about that, but I'm thinking that she's got her followers too.
Well,
So-
JoJo Siwa is very popular. Very.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's got her followers too. So again, it's a battle of the fandoms here. So who's gonna win out?
Right. And
Gen X against Gen Z.
first of all, I didn't realize JoJo was 19.
Oh yeah, she's just a kid.
No, but I'm saying I remember when she was really little. Like she started young.
You know what the funny thing is? I had no idea who she was before she came out.
Well,
I had no idea who that woman was before she came out of closet.
she was really a YouTube sensation, if I remember correctly.
But again, oh god, I'm aging myself.
But then
Back in my day, if you wanted to be famous, you had to be caught. You had to be caught on America's Funniest Home Videos, shitting your pants on camera. Where's my dignity? It went that way, Grandpa. Go and chase after it.
by the way, ironically, was hosted by Bob Saget at one point. You do know that, right?
In my day, if you wanted to be famous, you had to go on American Idol and sing bad.
Oh God, don't even mention that show. That show's like trash. I can't even.
Oh God!
How many times do I have to watch Katy Perry make herself look like an asshole?
No, I'm talking about the Simon Cowell, original American Idol.
Even Simon Cowell's gotten soft now on AGT.
Because he realized that Gordon Ramsay was much better at doing this than he was.
Well, at least Gordon Ramsay's funny when he acts like an asshole.
At least Gordon Ramsay likes things.
By the way, his restaurant in was it Paris? I think the expensive restaurant, not the burger place, but it costs like an arm and a leg to eat there.
Of course, it's Gordon Ramsay.
Food was
we're getting off topic. So
I know, but my point is, your mom should not be fighting your battles. Sorry.
see, as a patent, as a patented mama's boy. So, I mean, I did. I can't say I disliked it when my mother would fight my battles for me. So
No, but I'm saying is it looks bad in this case.
no, I get it. I get it. Of course, I'm not famous. So.
But it says during a former episode of her podcast, Success with Jess, which by the way is a terrible name. Jessalyn, I think that's how you say her name, was
because
the first.
because that is the whitest name I can think of.
I know. Was the first to claim Cameron Bure wasn't kind to her daughter. Why are you claiming that?
Oh God.
And apparently she reposted the clip from the episode this past week on Instagram. So if you didn't tweak it enough, you didn't twist the hammer enough, you're twisting it more.
No, I get it. And you know what it is?
What?
Know what ultimately this is?
What?
This is how should I put this? It's really an argument about who belongs to who belongs to who once you become famous.
Oh God.
Do you understand? I mean, do you owe anybody Do you owe anybody, do you owe anybody anything once you become famous?
I mean, she's 19 years old.
Yeah, but when you become famous, everybody thinks that they have a piece of everybody thinks they should get a piece of you.
Right.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. That makes sense. And
it makes sense. It's just a matter of are you entitled to me just because you know who I am because you see me on TV?
right. And
Granted, I'm not famous. I'm probably will never be famous.
you never know.
Well, hopefully, if I do, it'll be for something good, not and not the fact that I accidentally ran into a parking sign on my face. But
Wow. That's interesting.
I have an active imagination like that. I've ran into a parking divider and broke it with my face. So
Oh god. Or closing your hand in a car door.
and closing my hand in a car door when I was trying to go to a Broadway show. So that's really what this is about. It's I'm entitled to you because I know who you are. Because I saw you on TV when I was a kid. That's
Right.
what this is.
All right. One last story because I know we're really up against it here. But this is a fun one. We're going to end on a fun one. Amazon leans into alternate NFL casts with simulcast of Dude Perfect. Now, I kind of had to explain Dude Perfect to you a little bit.
So I don't know if we're just going to while doing this segment, we're going to spontaneously age 30 years and just have to limp away from the computer with a cane. But for those of you who are like us and had to be explained, if you're like me, and had to be explained right before we went on air who Dude Perfect had to be reminded who they were, because turns out I did know what the name was. Dude Perfect is a YouTube channel of a bunch of guys doing stunts.
It's a fun channel. Did you imagine doing that for a living?
It's basically Mr. Beast without the $1 million lifestyle shit, and the restaurant that gives people salad.
Well, wait a minute. They have millions upon millions of
They
followers.
have millions upon millions of subscribers, but they also don't have a restaurant that gets you sick.
Well, why? You've had the food?
No, but I've heard that people were served.
Oh, the Beast Burger or whatever.
Yeah, the Beast Burger that was basically run as a ghost kitchen, and
I heard that.
Raw.
But this is kind of I don't understand it, to be fair. Like, people are going to say, "Oh, well,
no, you know what this is? I'll tell you what this is.
Younger demographic."
Yeah, this is Amazon going fishing for that coveted Gen Z demographic.
But you know what? You have to get people to watch Amazon first.
You have to get people to watch Amazon, and considering how many baseball fans are really pissed off, and I cannot name Yankee fans that are pissed off about them doing alternate broadcasts every Friday, so you can't watch a Yankee game unless you have the Prime Video subscription.
Forget Amazon for a second. On Friday, how about Apple TV Plus?
Yeah, and the sheer amount of people that are complaining about this, but you're banking on the fact that people are going to tune into the Thursday night games on Amazon Prime, and they're going to do the alternate broadcast because the people who know who Dude Perfect is and are fans, I would imagine they're not watching the Thursday night game.
Well, this is a simulcast, so this is the other version, like the Manning cast. Like,
you're throwing money at this to a problem that doesn't exist, to solve a problem that's not there.
Okay, so I just looked up the numbers on Dude Perfect. Dude Perfect has 58 million subscribers on YouTube,
which is not nothing.
That's a lot. That's probably in the top. That's probably in the top 10 or 15 channels on YouTube.
But if you were to do something YouTube exclusive, if you were to do something like that, then I could get. If the NFL came calling and said, "You know what, we want to have an alternate stream on the broadcast."
Well, that's probably part of the deal.
YouTube calling the game.
That's probably part of the deal.
That's understandable. But you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole here.
But what I don't get, Amazon is trying way too hard. Bezos is basically saying, "Look at all my money. I can do what I want."
He's spending like a drunken sailor. He spent the amount he spent the amount of 4 Richard Bransons.
Well,
on just getting the rights to do this.
That's an interesting terminology to compare it to. But so they're comparing it to the Manning cast, which, by the way, I'm not a big fan of the Manning cast. I could give two shits about the Manning cast.
It's funny. We've been talking about alternate broadcasts all episode.
I know. And then Paramount's Nickelodeon themed NFL playoff game, which is the worst investment I've ever seen.
The people that saw it said it actually wasn't bad. It actually served a purpose because getting younger and younger kids into football, which is
the only thing
it's not a bad idea.
The only good thing for me is that Noah Eagle, Iron's son, is actually really good at calling games. He's the next young talent, in my opinion.
But if the purpose here, I could see Nickelodeon doing it because you want to get kids who are like 8, 10 years old who are just, or even younger than that are just starting to pick up football fandom, like whether they got it from their parents or whether they got it from a family member, they got it from whoever, or they even starting to play like intramural sport. I can understand that. I absolutely understand that. I understand that there's something to be done there. There's a hole to be filled and money to be and a niche to be made, a niche to be filled.
I mean, so I'm looking at what they're saying here.
Doing this, you're going after the guy. The audience you're trying to capture are not watching football, or they're not going to be watching the alternate broadcast anyway.
People want TV. That the numbers prove it. They still want TV. Now, Dude Perfect, they're saying the Dude Perfect feed will include videos of the guys doing challenges and attempting world record tricks in between plays. Who cares?
Excuse me?
Between, that's what it says here.
Can you I understand it's an alternate broadcast, but you're here to watch a game, right?
It literally says the Dude Perfect feed will include videos of the guys doing challenges and attempting world record tricks in between plays. Now, last time I checked, what is there, 20 or 35 seconds technically between plays?
Yeah, 30, depending on whether a penalty is called, if there's an injury timeout, or
so. They said literally between plays.
How the hell are they going to fit that in?
Unless they've been practicing some kind of speed records.
unless it's like they're going to do the world record of juggling, where they can just juggle like 15 footballs. I mean, I don't see how it could work.
Unless they're taping shit.
Which, again, if you're going to, okay, then, but you know what? Can football broadcasts at least tangentially be about football?
But here's the problem.
I mean, come on.
Here's the problem with Amazon. So they got Al Michaels. Okay, I'm okay with that.
They spent a ton of money getting him over. They
spent a lot.
They spent a ton of money getting Kirk Herbstreit to
which is a joke because he shouldn't be doing professional football.
To leave ESPN.
He didn't leave ESPN.
Wait.
He's still at ESPN. This is an alternate job he's doing.
Oh, but to also cover things that are not college football, because that's what he's known for, right?
I mean, in the past, like the first couple of weeks of this season, who was the guy that does? It was him and who's the one that calls the tennis stuff for ESPN? The Prime. He used to do the double header. Him and Herbstreit would do the second game.
Why am I blanking on his name right now?
Fowler.
Oh yeah.
Chris Fowler, right?
Yeah.
Him and Herbstreit would do the double header games like the first couple of weeks. So, but now you have him doing Thursdays with Al Michaels. Like, who even knows if that tandem is going to work?
I mean, you know what? You're spending all this money. God bless you. But you know what? It just seems like a waste to me.
And it also says Amazon is also developing additional alternate NFL streams to be announced also. So, Dude Perfect's not the only one. How many alternate streams do you need to watch a football game?
Can't a football game just be a football game?
What's that dumb saying? I went to a hockey game and a game broke out.
I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out.
Right. So I'm going to a football game and a trick shot stream broke out.
I'm going to a Dude Perfect show and a football game broke out.
Right. Like, I'm so done with alternate streams. I'm so done with streaming in general. Now, I know that makes me sound like I'm 80 years old, but like there's too many options now. Look at baseball. Baseball's royally fucked because they have all these alternate options. right?
Yes, yes. But you know what? But I don't even know who's demanding this stuff. I mean, and we could take this full circle. I mean, do you really? I mean, the game itself can sustain new audiences because they've been doing it for generations prior to ours. But now all of a sudden you are just stumped about what you're going to be able to do.
Nick.
Are you going to get people to? I mean, I hate this. I hate to be an old fogey again, but you think Vin Scully's generation? All you needed was a Vin Scully to tell you why it was important. You didn't need a gimmick. You just needed a guy who loved the game, and you needed interesting things to happen.
Nick, all the alternate streams are one thing.
I know.
And that's the sad part.
I know. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, but I don't have to like it.
It's sad. It's pathetic. I mean, you have to go watch, Sunday morning games for MLB on Peacock? I mean, and that's going to be conflicting with the football season soon, isn't it?
Especially in the London games they'll be playing soon.
Oh, fuck the London games. Now they're going to Germany and wherever they're going.
Hey, let's bring back NFL Europa.
Why don't we just play the whole NFL season in London at this point?
Oh, God.
Well, Roger's too busy dealing with Deshaun Watson anyway.
Yeah, but that's a story for another show. In terms of this show, though, it's time for these old men to take our Metamucil, and it's time for us to bring things to a close. So that will do it for this week's edition of Beyond the Bench.
Whew, we made it. I mean, longest episode I think we've done.
Longest episode we've done in a while, and I got to tell you, there was a lot to go through, but
there'll be some good clips out of this show.
Yeah, there'll be some good clips. So make sure you stay social media, which you can do. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Beyond the Bench 1. We're also on TikTok if you want to do that as well. You can follow our Twitter accounts as they're scrolling across the screen. You can also make sure you go to our sponsor, Knack Bags. Make sure you get your Knack bag and make sure you can get it using the offer code on the screen below so you can get free shipping. And everybody likes free shipping because what kind of life is it?
It's a one-bag life.
Exactly. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Beyond the Bench. I'm Nick Fodera, along with my venerable co-host, Mr. Nick Morgasen. And I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, good night, everybody. See you back on the bench.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week for episode 42.